Hello, golfers. Welcome back to JD Golf TV. I'm John Dunigan, your coach, helping you play better, faster. Today's lesson is ooh, longer pitches to intermediate wedges. Now, here's the thing, folks. This part of the game scares the crap out of most people. We don't have a good way of looking at the game. If you did happen to see the Tree Doinks video, chipping setup, that will help you already. Now, 30 yards is still a chip. When we get to about 40 yards, it's going to be looking a little bit more like a full swing, a little bit more. But at 30 yards, we're hitting what we would call a finesse shot. Inside 30, for high speed guys, inside 40. Some of my guys, I got a couple guys that are swinging their 7-iron well over 100 miles an hour, 103, 104, 107. I don't know how they do it. Well, that finesse game, they have a real hard time out there to 60 yards. I don't know if you remember it, but when Dustin Johnson came out on tour, I mean, he was already driving it the way he drives it. He's better now, still, which is a little scary. But he didn't have a wedge game worth a darn. It's because it's really hard to corral all that speed. So we're going to give you a way to make sense of this nonsense of intermediate pitch shots. So at 30 yards, finesse game, we don't really necessarily have to do anything other than hit the ball solid. What we can do with this, if I wanted to hit it up a little higher in the air, I'm using a 58-degree club. Oh, by the way, I meant to tell you this and I forgot. If your wedge is a year old, pull it out. Get me a new one. When these grooves, if you play a lot, if when these grooves get worn, it's amazing. I get new wedges once a year, and it is amazing. This just came in, the difference in spin rate and the way the ball checks up on the green. And I play twice a week, but sometimes I play only 9 holes. I don't really have a lot of time to practice. I admit that. I do most of that with my kid on the golf course. But even with the limited practice and repetitions and sand shots with repetition that I hit, it's amazing what happens when I get fresh grooves on that golf ball. So please, if you play a ton, give me 2 of your highest loft wedges per year. Remember, you're going to use this the most, or whatever wedge you do use the most. You may have to get, I'll have a 50, I have a 53 and a 58 wedge, and a 47, I believe. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the shot. 30 yards. Oh, we're back at a Dare Manor, and I put a moat in front of the green just for fun. So guess what? You gotta fly it in there. Basically speaking, it's our big chip. Doink, doink, doink. Turn the head back. Again, it's gonna feel crazy. Now I'm gonna do this with a square club face. I'm gonna try to get the club to go back far enough. How far? Well, think about a clock. Let's call that 9, 10, 11, 12 is straight up and down. 1 o'clock tips over the other way. 2 o'clock. I don't want you to really hit any wedges with more than 2 o'clock backswing. If I took this golf club back to about 9 o'clock, would that give me the right kind of speed to hit this shot? Oh, I guess it would. Well, okay, I don't have to do that one again. How about that one? Now, when I progress to greater distances, what I want to do is keep the force that I applied. A force is a push or pull on an object, and we apply so much force pulling and pushing against the golf club. When I get to these wedges, unless I'm trying to really finesse it, like this one here. Let's say I'm going to hit this one really high. I'm going to take a giant backswing and hit more of a not quite a full-on flop shot. In that case, I hit the blocker up there. I did launch that way up in the air, and I swung bigger but slower to kind of slide the club under it. That's a different shot. We'll get to that later. Let's just stick to this little basic one, okay? So I went with tons less force for the real finesse wedge. Tons less. I feel like on the finesse one, I feel like I'm just letting it almost fall on the ball. A giant swing. Ooh, goody again. Giant swing. I get it. Very little force on that one. Once we're going to move back to 40 yards now. Once we get back to that, I hit the first 30 with a standard issue lower trajectory wedge. At 40, I'm going to pretty much stick to it. Although today, just today on the golf course, I had put myself in a bad position and had to hit a 60-yard flop shot to get over the bunker and deal with this green that is rock hard and light speed fast. And go ahead. Hadn't hit that shot in a while, but I know how to hit a super high shot. We'll get there. I promise we'll get there. Okay, 40 yards. Well, if 30 was right about 9 o'clock, maybe 40 is going to, well, it's going to be more, right? I don't want to hit it harder. Okay, so let's talk math. You have force and time. You're going to apply a very steady amount of force, and if you have more time, bigger backswing, apply the same force, you'll have greater club head speed. That's how it works. It's called angular impulse, if I'm correctly remembering that. Being that I was a math, what's the opposite of whiz? Yeah, that was me in math. Okay, 40 yards. Maybe we give it the 9 and a little bit more. Let's see what we do. Same kind of force, Dunigan. 40 yards. Oh no! I dunked it. I rinsed it. What happened there? Oh, I didn't get my club speed. Rats. We're going to try it again. 40 yards. Now, I don't know if you heard it, but I chunked that. I don't know if you saw it, but I tilted back in the downswing. This is my one thing that I tend to do with my wedges is tilt a little bit. So I'm going to straighten that out by just turning and not tilting. 40 yards, just past that 9 o'clock mark. There's solid contact. Oh, jeepers, creepers. I'll take it. Okay, now what I do is I try to go back and reflect upon, I felt like I pushed it the same way, the same amount of force, okay? And I might play with the amount of backswing. Okay, 50 yards. Now, 50 yards, for many of you, I would like to be what I call a baseline number. I think it's really handy and dandy to have one distance that you absolutely master. And you can kind of get the feel of the other distances from that. Now, 50 should be just shy, maybe 11 o'clock for 50 yards, maybe right there. And you'll see me do that on the golf course because I know where it goes. I got to rekindle the feel. Okay, got to rekindle the feel. Take a look back. That's my 50 yarder. Let's see what we get. Oh my, not sucky again. And I would go so on up the clock or around the clock, if you will, working on my distance control, trying to feel the same force. It's called, from my motor learning textbook, Schmidt's Law. When you vary the amount of force you apply, you increase the variability in both direction and distance. That's a good enough explanation for me. There's some research behind that. So once you get out of that finesse village where we might be trying to soften that golf ball like I did with that 130 yarder, try to keep the force the same all the time and just use different size backswings. Use the clock. As you're doing so, if you need a little more height, you can move the ball a little bit more forward in your stance. You could open the face a little bit out of dress. And that's enough to soften it even more for you if you're right in between. I hope that makes sense. It's a really big deal. I'm telling you right now, this distance wedge stuff is not nearly as hard as you think. Don't forget these wedges from finesse all the way out are okay. The whole damn game is about controlling the low point of that circle. Don't forget, we want the buttons forward of the golf ball at impact. We want the club to bounce off the ground just after impact. No, you don't have to take big divots with your wedges. I know there are some pros that do that. They probably practice about 700 more wedges a day than you do. And guess what? Hitting down on the golf ball, does that make it go up? No. You know why the ball goes up? Because the golf club has loft. Loft makes it goes up. Loft makes it go up. I hope that makes sense to you. All I have to do is get the loft down low enough so that I contact the golf ball with the leading edge below the equator of the golf ball. Right? It's ball then turf, and you almost can't hear the difference, but it does sound a little bit clunky when you really hit these good. So, last thing would be the ball location. Listen, folks, there's guys on tour playing these golf balls and girls on tour playing the golf ball back by their right ankle like this. They got the foot pulled back. If you've got some of the best players in the world, my brain says I'm going to hit this right of the universe. Let's see. If you've got the best players in the world doing this, up, okay, fine, 3 feet right. If you have the best players in the world doing it, it can't be wrong. Okay? They do that to help hit the ball super duper clean because that's what gives it the most spin. The more I get ball first contact, the more spin I'm going to hit on it. There's nothing wrong with moving it back. You don't have to have the golf ball in the middle of the stance. It's just a wedge. Right? It's not a power shot. It's a precision shot, big time precision shot. All right, get after it. Don't forget, everybody likes a good wedgie.